Foodie family, I'm sure you've heard of all kind of food wars, but today we're about to have a sausage sandwich war. So I'm gonna put one of Florida's own, the Garcia Sausage, up against the Italian sausage. Now, a lot of people love the Italian sausage sandwich. It is a staple amongst many homes. So today we're going head to head, and I'm gonna put my own spin onto this, but here's your shopping list. Here we go. All right, and for our first ingredient, you're gonna need 1 medium red bell pepper. And then next, you're gonna need 1 medium purple onion. I promise you, that's all you're gonna need when it comes to those. That's plenty. And then next, if you know, you know, Duke's Real Mayonnaise. Golly, all I can say is if you know, you know. And then of course we rocking with the best, that Crystal hot sauce, in my humble opinion, of course. And then next, you got that sweet Baby Ray's honey barbecue sauce. Oh my gracious. Listen, my mouth watering already, and we haven't even cooked nothing yet. And then the gold standard of butter. We got the Kerrygold butter, and then that's 2 tablespoons. And then with the garlic, you're gonna need 2 cloves of garlic. And then next, of course, you got that marinara sauce. That's gonna pair extremely well with the Italian sausage. Pick your own, your favorite, of course. 6 ounces is all you need. And then make sure you grab some fresh hoagie buns for this. And then I had to make sure we had that provolone cheese on deck. 3 nice slices. You don't need the smoked provolone, trust me. And for our next ingredient, I had to make sure it was so fresh. I went out and bought a fresh basil plant. All you're gonna need is 4 to 5 leaves for this. And then next, the contender, the Garcia sausage versus the Italian sausage, AKA the OG. All right, so before we get into this video, just a couple of housekeeping things first. The full recipe is in the description below, guys. And then next, foodie family, if you're not already, make sure you follow me, subscribe, TikTok, Instagram, let's go. So first out the gate, you're gonna make sure you get those sausages on the stove in a pan. You wanna make sure while they're cooking, they do not split. And then next, we're gonna jump on this sauce. So your sauce is gonna consist of a ratio of 2 to 1. So you're gonna have 2 parts mayo to 1 part of that sweet Baby Ray's sauce. Go ahead and get that a quick mix down. Hit it with a couple of splashes of that hot sauce, as much as you like. And then you go from there. Then next, we're gonna go ahead and get started on chopping up our fresh garlic. Now, back on the sauce really quick. The reason why I didn't put measurements for the hot sauce, because I want you guys to make it as spicy or not as much as you guys want. But I only put like 3 little squirts. So now, going in with that garlic, as you can see, I'm just chopping it up really quick. And I know everyone doesn't have a garlic press, so that's why I'm taking the time to do this by just chopping it up for you guys. Now, chop that garlic up, get it on the side. And then with that butter that's already ready, make sure your butter is softened too, okay? Go ahead into that softened butter, get that fresh garlic in there, mix it up. And then once you finish, that's what it should look like. And then we're gonna go ahead and start slicing up our onions. Now, your onions, we're gonna go ahead and julienne these. So they don't need to be too big, okay? Too small. So start off slicing in half, just like you're seeing me do. Clean it up, remove all of the unwanted pieces. And then from there, just go ahead and slice it. You can use a shelf knife. You can even use a bread knife like I'm doing. I just love to use this bread knife. It's one of my favorites to do. It's serrated, and it just helps me cut through vegetables super quick. But use whatever knife you like, just make sure it's sharp. All right, so just like I'm doing, go around the edges, around the sides of this, clean this up. And you wanna make sure you avoid all of the membrane from this. And then any unwanted pieces, you wanna get rid of it, just the way you see me doing. And if you wanna start a garden, you even got the seeds from it as well. So now, from there, we're gonna go ahead and do our juliennes really quick. About 1/4 inch thick, just like that. Put that off to the side. And then when you're done, this is what you should have right here. All right, now let's go ahead and do our basil. We're making chiffonade basil with those 4 to 5 basil leaves. Roll them up nice and tight like you see me doing. Slice them up. Make sure you wash those fingers. Careful not to cut yourself. And then after that, this is what yours should look like. Just like that. Perfect. All right, now let's go ahead and slice that bread right across the top like you see me doing. And we're gonna do that for both of these hoagie buns. And then after that, we're gonna go ahead and butter the middle. Now, keep in mind, you can put as much or as less butter as you want. If you don't wanna use butter, you're welcome to just use olive oil. If you wanna use margarine or whatever it is, that's up to you. But me, I prefer to do butter and just a little garlic. And that's it. And the butter that I'm using is unsalted butter, by the way. Now, go ahead, a little oil in your pan. And I'm using a cast iron skillet, by the way. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and toast that bread up nicely. Now, spread that oil around the pan. And then after you're done, go ahead, press those hoagie rolls down in that cast iron skillet. Make sure you get that color, but you're gonna keep your hand on there at all times. Careful not to burn yourself. And once you toast your bread off, that's what it should look like. It only took mine about 30 seconds. Then we're gonna go ahead and hit that cast iron again. And then we're gonna add our peppers and our onions in there. Now, you're gonna allow those peppers and onions to saute. We're gonna caramelize them and follow what you see me doing. We're not gonna allow them to cook too much, but we are gonna get some nice color on these. Now, once you've got a decent amount of color and they're at, I'll say about close to the halfway point, then that's when we're gonna go ahead and bring the sausages into the cast iron. Now, very important, when your sausages are on the stove boiling, you wanna keep those at about medium heat the entire time. And ensure that your sausages do not burst open in that pan, because that's all of the flavor that's inside of the pan. So allow them to cook. And then once your onions are about halfway, or once your sausages are, I would say, are just about done, before they burst open, bring them over to the cast iron, and then you're gonna split them open, just like you see me doing. And then we're gonna turn them inside down first. So now I'm slicing that Garcia sausage all the way open. I'm just cutting it in half, basically, the long way. All right, now go ahead, do the same thing with the Italian sausage and work it out. And foodie family, when I tell you it's about to be a vibe with this, it's about to be a vibe. I cannot wait. So allow these to cook, let them work. And as they cook, we're gonna go ahead, making sure we flip them down on the belly first and let them work. And then once we get color on the belly side of it, then we're gonna flip it over again, and we're gonna go to the opposite side and do the same thing all the way through. And when they're done, that's what they should look like. Take them out of that pan, and we're gonna start off with the Italian sausage first, putting the sausage in there, set that off to the side, and then we're gonna get that Garcia sausage in. And then, but before we put the Garcia sausage in there, we're gonna start off with our sauce. This is our BBQ Mayo sauce. It's gonna be incredible, smoky, yummy flavors, incredible. Now, go ahead and get the Garcia sausage in there. And then we're gonna get the peppers and onions on top. Now, very important, the peppers and onions, make sure you don't overload it, okay? Get as many as you can get on there, but don't overload it, all right? And then after we got all our peppers and onions on this is gonna go on the stove too, because we only toasted pretty much the inside of that bread, but we gotta get the outside of the bread toasted too. Now, your oven should be on 500 degrees, okay? So make sure your oven is at 500 degrees for this particular cooking process. And then next, we're gonna get that marinara sauce in there. Use as much or as little as you like, but make sure you put the marinara sauce on top of the sausages, not down in the bottom, because you don't want it to be soggy. So now, with the cheese right on top, just like that, and then into the oven it goes. All right, they're ready. Let's grab them. These look absolutely sensational. Just the way I remember them too when I was a kid. Let's go ahead and hit these with a little fresh basil, the Italian sausage. So we'll go with the OG first, the Italian. Nice crusty bread. The OG is crazy. The OG always stands up and stacks up to all of the competition. All right, now let's see if the OG stacks up to the Garcia. Let's swig of water to cleanse the tongue palate real quick. And here's the Garcia. It got a little cheese on it from when I had the Italian one over there. Smooth this out the way. Mm. 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 Smoky, peppers, the onions, the sauce with this just, it just sends me back to my childhood. That first bite is always amazing. And for me, it's crazy. The amount of flavor that hits you from the Garcia sausage. Wow. I got to give it to the Garcia. I think the Garcia is a much more packed with flavor type of bite. I mean, the OG is amazing. It's crispy, it's toasty. Then like the average person, well, they like it oozing and the cheese just running. Me, I like the crispy edges with the bread. I think it produces a better bite. Garcia for me all day. And if you haven't already, Foodie Family, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Till next time, Foodie Family, it's ReyBae signing off. Peace.